We have, in the past year, been having testimonies about what God has done in our lives and about how we have received Christ, and we've encouraged people to share those testimonies and had some great ones. So we'd like to resume that, encourage you, if any of you would like to share your testimony, to do that. And so to get back on that track, we have a very special sharing of a testimony. Leonard Fall passed away just not even a month ago, and we miss him already. But he had written out his testimony, and his granddaughter Sarah is going to share that with us now.
Hi, I'm Sarah. Back in 1994, my grandpa wrote a book about our family history, and in it is his testimony, so I'm going to read that. Now that I had earned my master's degree and we were back home, I spent more time with Shirley and the girls. In those years, Christmas was a big thing, and we spent late hours on Christmas Eve assembling toys to put under the tree. One time, especially, I remember Shirley and I working until about 3 in the morning putting a little blue pedal car together for Barbara and Ellen. Our Christmas custom was to rise early, empty our stockings, which usually contain an orange plus candy, eat breakfast, and then open the packages under the tree. After staying up late the night before, it was very difficult for Shirley and myself to get up at 6 on Christmas morning with the eager girls. The next summer, I built the girls a sandbox where they spent many hours playing. At my office, I got back into the swing of the work and soon became leader of a group working on the software operating systems for our computers. I really enjoyed this work and threw myself into it. Our office was also planning further expansions of our equipment, and I spent a good amount of my time preparing specifications and visiting the plants of manufacturers. My spiritual life was still in a quagmire of doubt, and Shirley and I took the children and visited a Unitarian church at the invitation of our friend Mary Morgan. There, a sermon-like talk was given from a pulpit, but the text was from Emerson's poetry. The only similarity between that church and ones I had been accustomed to was that there were pews and a collection was taken. The principal topics of discussion appeared to be do-good activities and politics. After several weeks of this, I had had enough, and we attended there no more. Several years earlier, Shirley and I had attended a banquet held one evening in our local school, where plans were being made to build a Baptist church near us on the corner of Spinning and Burkhart. A small sanctuary had been constructed, and now Shirley took the girls and began attending Sunday school there, although I stayed home to read the Sunday paper. One of those Sundays, Barbara came home from Sunday school with papers she had been coloring. She climbed up in my lap at the kitchen table where I was reading the paper. She looked up at me and asked if I liked for her to go to Sunday school. I was caught somewhat unawares and answered that indeed I did like for her to go. She colored some more and asked if I really thought it was good for her to go to Sunday school, and I assured her that I did think it was good. She colored still more and looked up at me again and said that if it was good for her, that it should also be good for me. I felt like one hit by a 2x4. Then I remembered that somewhere in the scriptures it said that out of the mouth of babes is ordained wisdom or something to that effect. So the next Sunday, I accompanied Shirley and the girls to Sunday school, only when I went, we also went to church. The pastor and a couple of deacons later visited me, and soon I was attending regularly. However, I was still not satisfied since a do-good type lady was teaching the adult class, and she spent most of the time pushing various petitions and more do-good activities. I was still very restless about my spiritual life. Then I went TDY to Los Angeles and stopped by my parents in Phoenix on my return. I always tried to put on a good front with my parents, and so I attended church with them and accompanied Dad to his class. There, a teacher asked each of us men to write a prayer request on a slip of paper, and I wrote that I would like to have more faith. He piled up the slips and prayed over them. When I returned home the next Sunday, the lady teaching our class announced her husband was being transferred, and that day would be her last Sunday teaching. There was also a new visitor that day. He was Major Kenneth Lindsley, who was an attorney in the office of the Judge Advocate General at Wright-Patterson. The next Sunday, he became our new teacher. The church had recently emphasized the policy of using the denominational press material in all classes. Ken Lindsley asked the class if the King James Bible was acceptable as proper material. He then began the most powerful and convincing teaching I had ever experienced in any church I had attended. Perhaps this was due to the fact that I was now ready to really hear the gospel of Jesus Christ. At any rate, after listening to Ken for about 2 or 3 years, I knew that my spiritual life must be reactivated. I joined the Spinning Road Baptist Church, and I have remained active since.